Welcome to Land Academy. This is the Cash Flow from Land show, where we show you how to buy unwanted vacant land and sell it for more on the internet. I'm Steve Butala.
I'm Jill DeWitt.
We are your hosts. With over 15,000 completed transactions, we are the experts in this niche land flipping business.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com. All right, let's get this show started.
Jill DeWitt with the Cash Flow from Land show. Today we have Michael Adler with us. Michael Adler is a family man and Cleveland, Ohio-based real estate investor that loves to learn and share real estate investing strategies on his weekly podcast, Real Estate Strategy Session. Thank you, Michael. Steve and I are really happy to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Michael, I'm from Detroit originally, so we can maybe share a few stories about the
Oh, yeah. So you know all about the Midwest madness.
I do. I know you can buy houses for cheaper than you can replace them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
It's awesome, man. So give us a little bit of background and tell us what you're up to there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do we want to go all the way back and hear my story about what not to do in real estate before I was successful in real estate, or?
I want you to go right back to when you were in the womb.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll probably remember to about age 8 or 9.
No, dude.
Well,
Whatever you think.
Don't forget your first kiss. Throw all that stuff in there. We want all that
the
dirt.
magic moments in life.
Exactly.
Oh, it's hilarious. So, yeah, I was about 18, 19 years old. This was, 98, 99, somewhere in there. And infomercials were all the rage. And, if you were up late at night or if you got up early in the morning, you would see these, I got rich in real estate and the lakefront properties and the cars and all this freedom. And I was absolutely in love with the idea of real estate. Now, any intelligent person would go out and buy a program or hire a mentor and find out the proper steps to get in the game. Now, me, I was just like, buy real estate, rent it out, you get really rich. So I just went out and started buying stuff blindly, as crazy as this sounds. I was buying singles, I was buying doubles, fourplexes, and this was in the time when banks would just hand you money just for asking. You remember those days. And so as quick as I got in the game and bought up all this negative cash flow property, not realizing that tenants don't pay their rent, contractors lie to you, and if you don't have a good management company, you lose money. I lost it all as quick as I got in. I crashed and burned by 2002, and I had another business at the time that would offset my negative cash flow. But after September 11th, from being in the Midwest, it's very blue collar here, and all the, the factories and things like that shut down as well. So spending just dried up completely, and I lost really big in the beginning. So from there, I sat on the sidelines, basically feeling like a complete failure, studying for years, in love with real estate still, but just scared to death to get back in the game. And it wasn't until the market crash that I actually had the confidence at that point in following people like Tony Robbins and good motivational people that remind you it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to quit. And right around 2008, I got back in the game and I started investing for cash flow. And that's when things got really good for me and I started scaling my business to where I am today.
That's awesome, man. I thought it was going to be boring. We were talking about going all the way back to the womb. That's a great, concise story. I love people. I'm a huge fan of embracing these failures. You just have to do it.
You have to. And the audience needs to know about it, too, because I think a lot of times people just want to show you all the bright and shiny things, and they don't show you that if you don't take the proper steps, you can mess up really, really big at this game. So, you got to show the good and the bad and make sure everybody's taking the proper steps when they dive in.
I do a weekly blog on Bigger Pockets, which is I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a website that, everybody uses to help new people out, or seasoned people use it for other seasoned advice and on and on. So, and Jill and I have no affiliation at all, but I write about that all the time. And it's amazing that the direct responses that I get from people who read that, they don't think that there's any failing at this.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be.
No, it's great that you share that, too, because, people absolutely need to know.
When you remove financing and you remove a lot of stuff, it's really actually you're setting yourself up to really succeed. But if you do it the way, I think our parents probably did it. It's buying a regular house, and it's just not. You're setting yourself up to fail, in my opinion.
No, I agree. OverLeveraging is that's a big problem in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So in the pre-talk before the show, you said that you actually bought a property from us?
I did buy a property from you.
Oh,
this secret sly move I had slid in on you two, and you didn't even know.
This is awesome.
So here's what happened. From 2008 till the end of this past year, basically in Cleveland, Ohio, we were buying highly distressed properties. We raised private money. We go in, we buy these properties, we renovate them, we place tenants in them, and then we offer the cash flowing asset to the West Coast investors. And they were buying these things like crazy. So this was our formula, and we just kept filling orders for them, and everything was great. And I even, like, you know as well as I do, if you have anything that's really, really hot, it's going to explode at some point. We've all been through this before. And I was even holding meetings with the teams. I'm like, all right, we got to think of additional strategies. We got to do this and that to make sure when these guys disappear, if they disappear, we're covered. Well, roughly a year ago, they started pulling out of the market and moving more into the suburbs. So we have a bunch of inventory right now where, you know, even with property managers and things like that, you still have tons of headaches anytime you own rental properties. I don't care how great someone says their system is. If you have rentals, you have headaches. So I came across, you know, your strategy and things like that. And I was like, you know, I got to keep cash flow going, but someone not paying me is not the problem. It's when someone doesn't pay me, and then I got to hire my attorney, and then I have to hire contractors to clean up the mess they made and the ongoing problem. So that's why the land model looks so good to me. So that's what we had transitioned into this year. And before I brought in a bunch of money to buy a bunch of land that I thought I might not be able to sell, I was like, well, let me just buy some parcels off of the wholesalers. I'll negotiate some deals with them, put some money out there. Once I have proof of concept, then boom, we'll funnel the money right into this. And it's not a problem. So you were one of the wholesalers I came across, got a great deal on a parcel. And here's the kicker on this, and this is not scripted, part of the show, anything like that. I literally sold it the day the deed had showed up in my mailbox, just by a member on my buyer's list already. So I just picked up the phone and said, hey, I got this parcel. I could do $50 down, $50 a month for 24 months. She's like, I'll take it. And it was a wrap. I was like, okay, that was really easy there. We need to do a lot of these now, and we'll be okay.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Michael.
No problem.
Is fantastic. Oh, I love it.
You know, I have to tell our listeners that I didn't even, I mean, you did my assistant schedule you for this podcast? This is not like pre-contrived or anything.
Well, that's what's hilarious about it. So I got a message from you, and I don't know if it was, you know, through you, through your assistant, whatever, and it came from directly to my website, like comment on a post, say, hey, we're both podcasters, let's connect. I said, that's great, let's do it. And I was like, I wonder if Jill put him up to this because she knew I bought a parcel off of him, and that's how we're going to connect. But no, it's just coincidence that we're both podcasters. We connected, and I'm actually a customer of yours.
This is so great. I absolutely love this. Hey, by the way, Michael, I've got 10 more of those somewhere if you want them.
Well, you know, it's funny. We might have to talk during the show or after the show, because if you have some of the cheapies, on Wednesday, I'm doing midweek no money down madness right now. So if there's some cheapies, we might take those, put it out to the list, and see if we can buy them there.
You're on my Platinum Buyers Club.
Woo, good.
So what did you buy, and how much did you sell it for? And give us all the numbers.
So this is what I did. I found it was actually off of eBay. So I bought it a quarter-acre parcel off of you. It was $400 roughly. And I turned around, like I said, as soon as the deed was in my mailbox, I just picked up the phone and called a person on my list. And it was $50 down, $50 a month for 24 months is what I had sold that particular parcel on.
That's fantastic.
It was great. And like I said, when I got into it, I was just looking for proof of concept first. So it's like, okay, boom, 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 this works. Now it's time to scale.
You know, we were just talking to someone today. There was a person that actually Steve and I both talked to. That's one of our biggest things is people kind of go, "Is this for real?" I mean, they can't wrap their head around a little bit, and like you just proved it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And if you're worried about it, spend $400, test it, and there you go.
And what better way to find out? I mean, think about it. All right, what if it doesn't work? But you own an asset now that you only spent $400 on. It doesn't matter, you know? And if it does work, I mean, your returns are insane. So you go in, you do another and another. And if you're a big fish, you just funnel a bunch of money into it and get them out to the sites there and get them sold.
Bingo. And that's what we talk about. Why I sleep really well at night is because everything we have, we paid cash for. You know, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't sell tomorrow, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, like you said, if it all goes sideways, gee, I have all this property.
Right.
I think I'm going to be okay.
Exactly.
And we know, and we teach our members too, if you need some cash, all right, you can unload it quickly. Like what you just bought for $400, you could have probably dressed up nice and dumped for $800 and just doubled your money and been just fine. So we all know how to do that too. If you really need some cash, you can do that. If you want to, you know, like you did, have an incredible return on your investment.
Well, yeah, you tripled your money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
that was the proof of concept I needed. So I was like, okay, let's dive in now.
That's awesome.
That's a great story. You know, it's a fantastic story. Those properties, and I think I know which properties you're talking about. Those we have many members who their wives are not. They just think this is silly. That this whole thing that we do is silly. So we ask them to do the same thing, and we use that same product type, and it's kind of the same model, and that's what they do. Mm-hmm. They convince their wives. They prove the concept. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome, man.
Very cool.
My big question is, how are you sourcing acquisitions? And if you're going to plan on getting in this business, which is what our members do, are you sending direct mail out, or do you look in the MLS? How do you source acquisitions?
So this is what I did in the beginning. First quarter was find proof of concept. So I came across the two of you. Like I said, we bought a parcel off of you, and then I went to LandWatch, and I was also looking for the wholesalers on there as well. I know I'm paying a little bit more going to a wholesaler, but I'm okay with that because you could still hit massive margins on it to test different areas. So that's what I was doing in the beginning, and now we're doing direct mail. So I literally yesterday I got Agent Pro 24/7, and I was going to do direct mail to tax delinquent property owners, just sending out yellow. Actually, I'm going to split test. I was going to do yellow letters versus the purchase agreement to see which one actually got better results. And then once again, whatever we're getting more of a return on, we scale in that area.
You're cracking me up because we have a product. We spend a lot of time on our podcast and talking to our members and customers about why they should not do exactly what you're about to do. Because you clearly have the concepts down perfectly. Mm-hmm. But we are a licensed provider of much better data, and it's much cheaper than Agent 24/7.
I like that.
And we also have an affiliation, a direct affiliation with a printer that's industry specific. So it's way, way, way cheaper than the printers that you're talking about. And then we have a membership group where there's a bunch of guys doing this at the same time you are. So, and that's all free, or most of it's free. The membership piece of it is anyway. So, this is really a funny, timely call.
I know. That's what I was just thinking. It's funny. We're going to talk about my real estate investing strategies, and here I am like, no, how do I do this? Now tell me how to do this. It's a free consulting call from Michael Adler here.
That's it. Yeah, we can totally help. So
yeah, I'm all about it.
So we need to jump you ahead.
Well, let's go ahead and announce that product there, since I'm sitting on the edge of my seat.
Well, you've got the concepts. You got the concept down. I think what you really just need is the data and the access that we have. So it's data2doorstep.com, and we'll hook you up, Michael. Of course, off the air, we're gonna hook you up here.
Awesome, thank you.
So that's what you need. I mean, there's no better data out there, not kidding. And we've tested it all, including the program you've talked about. You name it, everything out there. There's nothing better. This is what we use, and you're a pro, and this is what we got.
In a nutshell, what it is a subscription-based membership group. So you get all the education through a online community that we have that's very similar to Bigger Pockets, but it's really product specific to land. It's called successplant.com. And if you haven't been there, you should go out there and ask a bunch of questions to the people that are doing it. And so what you get with the subscription is access to a product called RealQuest Pro, which is hands down the best data in the country. It's access to the assessor's databases, 98% of the assessor's databases all over the country. And then it's 5 cents a record on top of that. And then you get what we call cheaper than a price of a stamp printing access, industry specific printing access. So when you add it all up, it's cheaper, and it's first class stuff. And then you get all the support you need from everybody else that's doing it with, right alongside you on Success Plan. So it's really
that's amazing.
Hilarious.
I'm excited to dive into that. And obviously on my podcast, I'm sharing my journey on this as well. So, that's the thing that I do on my show is I share here's what I'm doing. It's really working really well. And here's what I did that you should really avoid doing because it doesn't work very well, you know? Uh-huh. So we share the good and the bad in our current investing as well, you know?
So do you have any rentals left?
Yeah, I got a little over a dozen properties in Cleveland right now. So we have all those for sale right now, and then just shift the money around to things that are more favorable that I feel, and keep pushing forward.
That's great. You know, we buy houses this way too. We wholesale houses with the same data set and the same plan. We just send out a lot more letters per acquisition. We still buy property for half price.
And that's good to know there, too, because I don't know if I told you before the show or not. I've shifted my whole model this year. And we all know you don't own a business unless you could step away for 4 months and come back and you're making the same amount of money or more money. And basically over the years, I've created a really good high-paying job for myself to where I could step away for a couple weeks, but any more than that, I'm really pushing it and things might hit the fan, you know? So that's the other part of it. We're doing land for the cash flow, and then we're going to go into more virtual wholesaling. So I have to force myself this year to go ahead and put the systems in place to where I could run it anywhere, and I'm not in Cleveland, the phone rings, and I feel obligated to run down there and be problem solver for whatever drama's hitting the fan.
So is it not necessary? I mean, you're talking about when you leave the business, you mean physically. You want to be able to be anywhere and operate your business.
Exactly. Yeah. And here's some funny stuff because I live in Cleveland, so I'm a snowbird. We go to Florida every year, you know, a couple weeks or a week at a time just to get away from the snow. But, you know, I'm with my kids. We're hanging out with Mickey Mouse doing selfies, and my phone is blowing up with nothing but nonsense. I'm like, I don't need this drama right now. So that's why we're making a few shifts this year.
I got it. Well, as I don't know if Stephen mentioned, but where we are right now, our staff keeps wondering, are you coming back or not? Because we're out at the beach, and we were literally on the Strand in South Bay, just south of LA, at the beach areas here, and we keep extending our stay.
That's awesome.
I mean, we can do our show from here. Obviously, we're all set up. The only thing we have to deal with is as Steve likes to say, you know, you beach people, the beachy hippie Wi-Fi is not a priority around here. So every now and then we have some issues with that.
Yeah, this show might end really early.
That's a small price to pay to be living the dream, you know?
Exactly. But like you said, that's the beauty of it. I don't need to be there. You know, we can do this from anywhere. And you know, we've even talked about officially opening up another office because frankly, this is where I want to be full time. So beautiful. You know, there you go. I can go back and forth. We'll have an office set up there, and I'll have, you know, my assistant and I can be out here. And so, you know, you could do this from anywhere. So.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, you know, that's the other thing I think people think about in this business. They want to make X number of dollars and then they quit working. And the reality is, I mean, if you quit working, I think you wither away. But if you could create a business where you could run it from anywhere and you work on your own schedule and your terms, that's the ideal lifestyle, I think.
I couldn't agree more. I've tried to retire several times, and it's for my personality type, and it sounds like yours too. It's just not. It doesn't work that way. So.
Right, you'll go insane. Just what can I get into next? What can I do now? You know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So you know how along the lines of investing in houses, the way that we do it is, and we've had a lot of success with it really recently. I've done it all through the years since the 90s, but really recently we brought it back. Because of Land Academy and because of interviewing people like you. So we send a ton of direct mail out to houses that don't have any mortgages on them at all. Mm-hmm. And we reduce the purchase price. I'll call it the ARV price by, 40% of ARV ballpark. We've been doing it in the West Coast states. And then we buy the stuff, or we retain, we find a deal, retain it, and then we sell it to a local flipper. And we make sure that we make at least 10 grand a deal.
Beautiful.
So
now let me ask you this.
That's been going well.
Within your data sources, are you pulling your cash buyers from there as well? Or are you working with local investors to find where they're at?
Yeah. So the easiest part of this is finding a cash buyer flipper. Those guys, for some reason, the talent, you know, and I I'll put myself in this category. For some reason, people are talented at one or the other. They're good at data. They're good data people like us. Or they're just really good at rehabbing houses and selling them for way more. which I have proven that I'm not good at. So, so
you have to have a pretty hard stomach for that one. Stevens can't do that.
Yeah. So it's just a real good way to use that data product, all the while that you are flipping land.
Yeah, I'm excited to tear into that there.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. So how is Cleveland? I haven't been back there. Last time I was back there was for a funeral.
All right. Well, here's the thing about Cleveland. Winters are horrific and they're around for 7 months at a time. This past year, we probably had the most amazing winter ever. I think there was 2 massive snows that came through. And other than that, it's been at freezing or above freezing, which might sound crazy to you being in the Southwest. But I mean, to us here, that's like, whoo, it's summertime year round right now. So this year's been good. And they're pumping a ton of money into the city right now, which is another good thing. But because we're hosting the RNC, the question is, what is going to happen once that week is over with?
What is going to happen?
We're going to find out. I'll just do a live stream from it, and I'll tag you in so you can see. I'm like, Cleveland is a zombie town once again.
Right.
So we're expecting a big turnout. They're really cleaning things up. They're building like crazy here, which is exciting. It's great for the city. They're doing some big things. But once all that money floods in, will the people stick around, or will it go back to the way it was?
Exactly.
That's a big, I have big questions like that with Detroit, and I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to see it come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, the Midwest is a tough. I think weather is just a huge factor in it. That, and there's a lot of corruption, things like that nature. But you need that upside of something to bring the goodness back. And I think our horrible weather is a big factor on why we can't get it to the next level.
Hey, I was just thinking about the purchase that you made when you were testing the process.
Yes.
Were you at any point uncomfortable buying something sight unseen and just trusting maps and all that?
No, I wasn't at all, actually. I was, just did a quick search on it. And once again, the purchase price was so small. I'm like, even if I got burned on $400, let's say I didn't know you guys and I got burned for $400, who cares? It was, I knew what not to do and then moved on to the next step. So sight unseen, I loved being able to buy something sight unseen and be comfortable with it. And then once all the, paperwork checked out, it was that much better.
Isn't that cool? And then the person that you sold it to, did you have any issues at all?
No, and she's been on my list for about a year. Kind of a newbie investor, been following me for a while and learning strategies, and she really wanted to get in the game, having problems raising enough money to get into residential real estate, but she just needed that feel of being a real estate investor, and that's why I approached her with it. Said, look, this is your first parcel. You'll get an idea of how this game really works. You actually own an asset now. And then from there, as you build, then obviously if you want to get into residential real estate, we could talk about that. But you have to start with something and then just build upon it. And she was all about it. We get a lot of members in that think that they want to be house flippers and they end up being land flippers. And so instead of me and Jill and I spending a lot of time trying to convince them that, no, you really should take a look at land, we just say, hey, try a couple, see if you like it, and that's the best thing you could do. Yep. The experience.
End up forgetting about houses in like a month.
Right. Yep. There's so much more moving parts to flipping a house. I mean, you're dealing with the city, dealing with, the contractors, permits. I mean, there's so much to it that, you work pretty hard to pull you get that big rewarding check in the end, but you work pretty hard for that check. You got to remember. So whereas the land, it's, you're just kind of playing with numbers, pulling data and relisting it in the proper places from what I've seen,
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
That's what I like about it.
It's so funny when the times years ago when we were testing this and doing some renovations, flips and all that good stuff here, when we sat down and added up how many hours and how much work and how much we each put into it versus what we would have done on a normal basis, just flipping our land, it did not make any sense to us. Mm-hmm. It was so funny. And another good example is I had to be there. Like you, I had to be there in town. I literally had to be, if you're doing it right, you got to watch these people. I'm packing a lunch and spending a day at the project. That's not fun. I'd rather be here at the beach.
Exactly.
And nobody knows where you are. We're shipping deeds from here and shipping deeds from my office and stuff. Nobody knows. It's all good. It's great.
It's the ideal lifestyle. And that's the thing about, like you were saying there with residential real estate, if you're not babysitting, and this is just from my experience of years of doing it, if you're not babysitting people, chances are people are in your pocket stealing from you. So you got to do the trade-off. You either figure in for enough theft that you could still profit, or you have to personally be there and make sure nobody's pulling anything over you to retain that cash that you'd be losing. So either way, not fun.
Exactly. And I love what Stephen was saying too. We have a really good friend who's a really good, successful flipper in the Phoenix area. Now he's actually here in California starting to do some in the San Diego area. And his thing is not finding the deals. He could care less. And we're like, what are you doing? So he's one of the people that we help find deals. Our thing is sometimes what you think you want is not necessarily what you're best at. It'll find you, So, and he knows that finding the deal is not his thing. And he even knows, I know I'm paying you guys $10,000, to get this deal. It's still way better than if I had done the work myself. I don't really know it. I don't really get it. I don't want to. I'm better at this. So we have a great thing going. So
that's what it's all about. You be a problem solver somewhere in the, in the middle of the relationship, and that's how you profit. Like you just said, that's not a strong suit. Well, you could provide that service and you will get paid nicely for, doing the research up front for them, and everybody wins.
Michael, it's super great to talk to you. Before we leave, where can we find you where can our listeners find you on the internet?
So here's what I wanted to do, and I hope this is okay. And if not, you just edit it right out.
No, absolutely.
Go ahead. Give something away for free to your audience, but I want it to be a collaboration between the two of us. What is a book that has inspired each of you?
Like a business book, or just any book at all? Any
book that has just blown you away business-wise, or whatever. It's changed your life.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, one of my favorites is the one that we all like, which is Rich Kiyosaki. What's his book? Rich Dad Poor Dad. We all love that.
All right.
Bill Gates' father, Bill Gates Sr., wrote a book called Showing Up for Life. And you can find it on Amazon. It's super inexpensive. And he writes right in the beginning of the book, I wrote this book because I'm really sick and tired of going to the grocery store and having everybody pull me aside and say, how can my kid turn out to be like your Bill Gates? And it ended up being just an unbelievable collection of stories and advice about being a father. And, what are our generation, I guess I'm pretty close to Bill Gates' age or a little bit younger, what we're doing wrong and why we're not letting our kids fail, to kind of tie it onto what you were talking about. So, I still go back and use it as a reference guide, actually.
No, that's great. That one's new to me, so I'll check that one out. And my book of the year is 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And this is what I'd like to do for all the listeners out there, if you're okay with that. If they go to cashflowwithjjm.com, I'll give them a free audio. I know we just had this huge conversation about not using private money, but if they were interested in getting private money, I share the exact steps needed to get private money for their investments. And then I'll let you and Jill pick two winners that go over there, and I will send them a copy of all three of those books to hopefully change their life this year.
That's awesome, man. I love that. That's outstanding.
Very cool. And then I did the JJM because we got Jack, Jill, and Mike in there, So.
Nice. I love it.
Somebody just turned me on to Grant Cardone, and I'm like obsessed on it ever since. The guy's just, I understand that approach to everything.
Well, why don't you sign up as well, Stephen? Maybe you'll be the winner, and I'll send you a copy.
I'm going to sign up.
Oh, that's a great. I love it. Great promo.
Very cool.
We do a daily podcast 7 days a week. No one's ever collaborated like this, Michael. This is great.
I thought it'd be fun for everybody, So
awesome.
You.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And I'm sure this won't be our last podcast together.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to connect more in the future and share our adventures investing together.
Great, Michael. We'll contact you immediately right off the air here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye. Can you believe this guy?
Did we just accidentally set up an interview with one of our customers that we had no idea about, who was using our stuff to test this whole theory successfully? And man, you know what?
If I would have thought of that, I would have totally set that up and rigged it. I didn't even think about something like that. I would have
totally rigged it.
Wow. That was so great. You know, and I'm laughing about the price that he paid because I know exactly how the auction went. So it's kind of funny, but gosh, it works. Gee.
That's a mutually beneficial call. And I'm really glad to see a relatively seasoned, flipping house flipper, dipping the wick in the land thing. It was good.
He gets it. You know, it's funny because I talk to so many people that are want to be real estate investors and they really want to get into flipping homes, or they want to be something else, and they, for some reason, they think that this is harder than that. And I have to tell them, really? I know. And Michael I
heard it all.
I know. They keep thinking this is, there must be more to it. It can't be that easy. I think that's the whole concept. Oh. And I'm like, no. There really is that easy.
There's a lot more internet marketing to what we do and a lot less real estate stuff.
Yeah.
And so the home,
it's true.
Go ahead. I think I interrupted you.
No.
So there's a lot more computer work and sitting in front of a computer and a lot less licking lead paint, like I like to call it.
I just try to, I try to come up with things for people to, how do I say this? Paint the picture and to make it. Here's an example. People think that it'd be like saying, if you want to sell a car, you have to officially be a car dealer and you have to have a broker's license or this and that.
Or a mechanic.
And be, and they're like, no, if you want to sell a car, you can go sell a car. It's kind of the same thing. And they kind of go, oh, like, yeah, it's not crazy. No, so
you're dead right. He gets it. So
he gets it.
I kind of like to talk bad on this after show about some of the guests, and it's hard to do that with this kid.
This kid's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? I think he's got, the right amount. He's got, sometimes you and I talk to people who have a lot of energy and it's a little too much energy. I'm like bouncing off, it makes me start the shakes a little bit.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say something like that. I didn't know there was such thing as too much energy for you.
There is too much energy. That's very, very true. I like people with energy, just not too much energy, but he's got a lot of energy and a lot of ambition. It sounds like pointed in the right directions.
This story cracks me up. He watches some stuff on late night TV and then goes out and buys houses.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't do any education or anything.
Does it all wrong.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to talk about it. I've done really silly stuff like that.
Right.
It sounds like totally like in my younger years. That's exactly what I would do. So like, oh, you know what? I can do this better than you can.
Right.
All set. Thanks. And then the whole thing implodes.
Exactly. So funny. Well, I'm going to get off here in a minute and I'm going to go call this guy because we're going to hook him up. We're going to make sure he gets the education and the data and everything that he needs to do this right.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Have a good day, Jill.
You too.
We hold a drawing to win a free property every month. Enter to win by reviewing this show on iTunes and downloading our free ebook at landacademy.com.
If you want to get involved or you need more information about our profitable, niche real estate operation, call 480-467-0359. You just might get Jill at the other end of the line.
landacademy.com. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.